This is Forever a Friday Night Lights podcast. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Liz.
And we're discussing Season 5, Episode 9, Gut Check. I remember last week when we were with Mike and we're just like, gut check. How do you not laugh when you say gut check?
Yeah.
Anyway, this episode was written by David Hudgens and directed by Chris Eyre. Original air date January 12th, 2011. In this episode, following a contentious loss, Coach Taylor decides to bench Vince for a game and start Luke as quarterback. Becky and Luke try to start their relationship over, but this seniors' night scheduled for Friday's game makes that difficult. Julie continues her hiatus from school and visits Matt in Chicago. Epyck crosses a line during a tutoring session with Mrs. Taylor.
Not really, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. So let's start with the Lions. We see that they lost their previous game and the boys are just not acting as a team anymore. They're arguing with what went wrong, and Coach tells them to get out of his field house. Crowley tells Coach that Vince has lost the team. What do you think about this?
He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
We've been thinking this the whole time.
Yes and no. I mean, they were doing pretty well. This is their first loss, you know, and like all of a sudden now it's like, oh, Vince, he's been off. I don't know. Has he been? I mean, the attitude has been building, but I don't think he's lost the team the whole time. I don't know. This like struck me in a weird way.
Yeah, well, I think in this specific game, yes, he lost the team. He lost respect of his teammates. And then obviously we see the aftermath of it. They're all yelling at him and he's like, what's wrong with you people? You do not know how to follow plays, like blaming others. They're blaming him. So I think this past week, ever since they heard that Vince probably, was being scouted and he went to visit the school, that they were like, oh, so he thinks he's better than us.
Yeah,
and they've been feeling that
interview too.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And he, he didn't credit his team, and he allowed the interview to go on. And obviously, we know like they pieced it together, whatever. But his attitude is really poor, and it's not just his teammates that are feeling it. It's the coaches. It's his girlfriend. His mother now is like, "What's happening?" Like they're not stupid. So I think, Crowley's right. He's lost his team, and what he means by that is like such a bigger picture. Like he's lost everyone except for his dad at this point.
Yeah. So at practice, Coach tells Vince that he's giving Luke the quarterback position, which he like doesn't understand. He's totally pissed. He talks to his dad about it, and his dad's like, "Oh, please don't think too much of it. Like, Coach is just trying to do like a power move. Like, you'll be back. Don't worry about it." And then Coach asks Vince, "Hey, I want you to work with Luke on the Wildcat stuff, just in case." And he's like, "I don't understand why you're doing this." And he's like, "I'm asking you to help a teammate." Well, Vince obviously doesn't want to do this. He ends up getting into an argument with Jess when she's doing laundry, and he's going on and on about how people are, giving him lip about everything. And Jess is like, "No, you don't want to hear it from everybody." And they essentially break up.
I know. She says that all you do is complain, and I'm sick of hearing you complain. And he says, well, I told you not to take this job. You're going to hear me talk about my sports stuff. And she's like, well, no, it's actually a bigger picture. You're complaining about things that you feel like you're on a pedestal, and you're not really acting as a part of the team. You're acting like it's a Vince show. And she's like, it's a Vince show all the time. And I'm truly sick of it. I'm sick of your ass, she said, which I was like, chef's kiss. That was exactly what I wanted her to say. I've been waiting for her to say this. She's like, boy, I am just so sick of your ass. I am.
Yeah. This actually ends up having Jess go to work with Luke because we know Vince isn't going to show up. Jess wants the team to win. I love that she does this. Obviously, Luke is pissed off, but she's like, hey, I can help you do this. This was great. I love that.
Yeah, she just wants the team to win. She doesn't care if it's, she's going behind Vince's back by doing it, but she's like, I don't care about that. I want the team to win, so I'm going to help you. This is not about Vince. This is about the team.
Right.
And so she must have helped him a little bit, because he finally kind of, when we get to the game,
something's kind of clicked, right? Yeah, it wasn't good. But Before that, when Coach finds out that Vince didn't show up, he ends up benching him. And then this leads Vince talking to his mom about it. And his mom is so kind and gentle about it. And she's like, is this because you missed that practice? You know, your dad wants the best for you. He does love you, but maybe trust your gut and don't listen to everything he says.
I loved it. I'm so happy to hear her say this.
I know.
We've been all waiting for her to actually step up and say, you know, your dad, he's trying, but he doesn't know everything. So
yeah.
Take it with a grain of salt. And if you feel like something's not right, it's probably not right.
Right.
And I was so ready for this.
It was so good. Luke, before the game, shows up to Coach's. It's like 10 p.m. and he's like, you got to start Vince. Pretty much, I can't do this. And Coach doesn't pay attention. He ends up going with his gut. He does trust Luke that he can handle the position. And it is rocky. It's rough. Luke is like questioning himself. He's questioning Coach on plays. But ultimately, he plays a good game. The Lions win and they're going to playoffs.
Were you surprised that Luke felt like he couldn't achieve this? I feel like in the beginning, he wasn't cocky, but he was confident in his ability. I mean, I guess now that he's been not QB1 for so long that it's kind of like a little bit foreign to him and he doesn't really know all the plays that well, I guess, you know, and to order them to the rest of the team. So I was just like, oh, Luke, you got it.
I also think the fact that colleges aren't really interested in him, it seems. He's having trouble getting meetings. He's a senior. So that's really tough. And
that's not good.
It's not good. And so I think there's like this lack of confidence. And Vince has been leading them this whole time. Even though Luke is co-captain, Vince has been the one who's been QB. So, and it was kind of just like, hey, you're going to do this now. Whether you like it or not, I'm giving this to you.
Mm-hmm.
Will wants to know, if you were Vince with his attitude and mindset, what would you think to do to get back in Coach's good graces?
He's too stubborn right now. I think he's not going. Yeah, he's way too hot in this. And I'm sure his dad in his ear is not helping the situation. I mean, I'm hoping that it is that he could see maybe, hey, Dad, you need to cool it. Like I should probably be focusing my energy on not being mad at Coach. But right now he's too in it to try and get back in Coach's good graces. But when he does, you know, he'll be that team player. I'm sure he'll come to him and be like, hey, look, I messed up. He has grown in that way where in the past he kind of had this attitude, but then he would rebuttal it and be like, well, you know what, actually, I don't know, like, if I'm worth it, or, you know, all of his self-doubt, and he would apologize and he would back down and be vulnerable. He hasn't been that in a while because he's been doing so well, and his dad and everyone in the press is like, Vince, 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 and the team's like, Vince, 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 and so his head blew up again, and now he needs to really deflate it and come back down, and I think he obviously will. I mean, we're on episode 9. We're really hitting the near the end of the show. So I'm like, okay, no, we need to reel him in really quick because we only have 4 episodes left. Like, that's it.
And we're going to playoffs.
And we're going to playoffs. The team needs to get together.
Yeah. I mean,
they'll be fine.
They'll be fine. He'll be fine. Ornette is so pissed. I mean, even though the Lions win, after that game, he was screaming. Like, he was ready to get in Coach Taylor's face. And so, you know, Ornette's going off the deep end. And then you have Jess, who's so upset over the breakup. She's upset over Vince's attitude, and she's crying in the locker room. And I really love this scene with her and Coach, because Coach in his own way he's giving her space. He's like, you know, I have 2 daughters. Take all the time you need. You don't have to apologize, but I'm also not going to dig.
Right. He's like, I see you're upset. I'm not going to meddle. Take all the time you need. We're good. You can use my locker room for that. I was just confused as to why you were using my locker room for that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. She had a really tough episode. A really great episode for her. A growth moment, but just, you know, when you have a partner that you see decline very rapidly in front of your face, and you're like trying to tell them it's happening and they just don't see it and they won't see it, and then finally you combust. She was going through it.
Yeah.
But it had to be said and it had to come out.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if you need to. I mean, it probably will shake him up very much. It didn't seem like it did, but it probably will. That, his girlfriend doesn't want to be with him because of his shitty attitude.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that will also make him think about his actions.
Yeah. Mike wants to know how many episodes until our Lions are back to the team we love.
1. Yeah, we got 4 episodes. It's 1. They're going to get to state. They're going to probably win state. Let's be real, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, it's senior week at Eastdale, and so Luke is being celebrated, and Becky is so excited for him. She wants to celebrate with him after the game, but he tells her that his parents are so excited to take them out. He just is looking at senior night as kind of like for the parents, and Becky's like, no, this is really exciting. Like, this is your last home game. It is a big deal. Yeah. So she ends up taking a shift at the landing strip as a waitress. And she enjoys the money part of it, which obviously she's getting all these tips from these drunk men.
Elder
drunk men. Also, like, illegal for her to be serving alcohol.
Absolutely.
But we know this because when Mindy's friends give her the go, they're like, oh, so-and-so is working tonight. Our boss is in here. Like, it's okay. It's fine. But what she does with the money is she buys Luke 100% satin tie. It's so sweet.
Cute. She could have bought herself anything, right?
Yeah.
She could have bought herself a new shirt or a new lipstick, whatever it is. But she goes and she buys Luke something. And I thought that was such a nice character arc for her. Not that she's ever really selfish, but as we've talked about, she's very immature.
Yeah.
As the show goes on, she gets more and more mature. But it was just nice to see her, like, I guess they're in a relationship now.
They're starting over.
Yeah.
I also like the conversation she has with him. He says, my parents are taking me out. Are you upset about it? And she goes, you know what? I am upset about it. Like, you won't even stand up to your parents.
Yeah.
For me. So yeah, I am upset. I love that she said that because something went off in Luke's head, like, you know what? She's right. I should say something to my parents. And so after the game, he walks over and he goes, you remember Becky. I think that's what it was. You remember Becky, which I'm like, how could his parents forget about Becky?
Yeah. His dad seemed to be handling it a little bit better than his mom. But that's
his mom's
to be expected,
like, did you see
right?
They kissed?
I feel like you should be happy. As parents, you should be happy. Like, wow, my son actually really likes this girl. He didn't just fuck her to fuck her. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, he just really likes her. This is a nice girl here. Like,
nice
you know
girl.
what I mean? Like, you have a wholesome boy here, and they had an oopsie, and they had this very adult thing happen in their lives. And you know what? They made it on the other side.
They did.
You should be happy.
And I mean,
she's not a senior.
She's not.
So she's not going to be, going with him to college or whatever.
No, and the mom, I'm forgetting her name. I don't even know. Did we ever learn her
me too.
Mrs. Cafferty. She made an effort with Becky. Like, remember she went to her house to, like, have that whole conversation with her to get to know her?
Mm-hmm.
So,
because at that point she thought she had a grandson.
The grandbaby. But she also wanted to know, like, why she made the decision that she made.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we can't really blame Becky because you're actually really mad at Mrs. Taylor, but that's a whole lot. We're not going to go back to that.
Right. So true. You should just be mad at Mrs. Taylor this whole time.
That's right. Because that's who you're blaming it on.
Mm-hmm.
But Becky, she doesn't understand why she can't work at the landing strip. And Mindy tells her, you can get a waitressing job anywhere else. You're not an adult. And this is when Mindy tells her that she's pregnant. Which you called right away.
You can't be nauseous in a show and not be pregnant. We all said this in the chat.
Right. And she was like so tired too.
So tired, so nauseous. You're pregnant.
You're pregnant.
Predictable, but hey, I'm here for it, obviously.
we're happy about it. Billy is so excited. We got a ringlet number 2 on the way. His boys can swim. It was so good.
Yeah. I'm sure some of that was improv.
It had to have been, especially when he puts the test in his mouth and she's like, I peed on that. And then he winks. Like Derek's wink, that had to have been improvised.
I love it. It was so good.
It was so good. Will and Mike both want to know, prediction, what will Ringlet number 2's name be?
Name?
It's funny to me that both of them asked this question for you. Like, I didn't even think to ask you that question because, I don't know, I guess I'm not thinking about the names.
Well, then it makes me think that, like, it's Tim, because what more importance would it be? Like, it had to have had some importance,
I don't
right?
remember. Yeah. I know. That's a great...
because it's probably in such a short clip in the series finale of, like, and here's baby whatever. And, like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we have 4 episodes to go. I'm sure we're not doing, like, an extended pregnancy and fast-forwarding time here. Yeah. So I'm sure you don't remember the baby's name. But I'm just going to go with Tim. Hey, let's call him Little Timmy.
Little Timmy. And it was so cute where Billy was like, I can't wait to tell Tim.
Yeah.
It was very sweet.
Definitely.
Coach, he ends up taking a meeting with the representative from Shane State. And it's like at first he turned it down. Totally. Wasn't interested. And now he's curious. He says he owes Jason a favor. He just wants to see what the market's like. And then he also, he says to Tammy how maybe it would be nice working with adults because teens are really hard.
Yeah, so he's really starting to think this is a good idea.
Yeah. Mike wants to know, will Coach leave Dylan again? At this point, what do you think, Liz?
I mean, yeah, I think he will.
Okay.
And that's sad, but also if that's the next chapter he feels like he wants to take, then so be it. And I'm sure his family will support that decision if everyone, you know, it'll be hard, I'm sure, at first, but they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out.
That's the moral of this episode. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Exactly. That's the lesson here. Epyck, she visits Tammy in her office and she says she needs a B-. And so she asks Tammy for help in history. And this leads to Tammy having Epyck over for dinner to study. But what we see is how good she is with kids. And she bonds so quickly with Gracie Bell. It was so sweet. And Tammy's just like in awe watching Epyck with her daughter.
She was so happy. She was like, oh my God, okay. Like, this is great.
I know. Like, oh my God, I'm seeing Epyck in a different light. Well, then at school, Laurel tells Tammy that she thinks Epyck stole $20 from her bag. And so they approach Epyck about it. Epyck says she didn't do it. Obviously, I mean, wouldn't Epyck say that, right? Then Laurel goes to grab her book bag. Epyck gets upset about this. Tammy tries to interfere, and then Tammy gets pushed into the window in her office and bangs her head.
I feel like as an adult, Laurel should have let go of the book bag. Like, you're pulling, like, you're like 2 children. Let the child have her bag. You can do whatever later on, but just like, you're literally not giving in because you want to see what's in her bag. Like, anyone could have gotten hurt. Both of them could have gotten hurt. And then, of course, Tammy gets hurt in the process. Yeah, so I was just like, come on.
And of course, Tammy's like, no, this is an accident, but this turns into a whole thing. They have to check Tammy for a concussion. Epyck ends up getting handcuffed and arrested.
This is such bullshit.
And then she ends up getting suspended. She's being sent to a new home. She's getting sent to Kilroy. Also, Laurel
There's
telling
so many things.
Levi, there's so many things. Laurel using the language, this little psycho.
I know. Not very uncalled for. And hey, Tammy's like, no.
And in the beginning, Epyck does say like, oh, I forgot Laurel's last name, but like she dislikes me. And so
is that who she was talking about?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
But this whole, I mean, I could be wrong, but Laurel has always had an issue with Epyck because even when we learn about Epyck and she was like, oh, you have Epyck this year. Oh, she gives me trouble. And I'm sure, like, listen, we're not teachers, but I'm sure there's teachers that, have issues with students. We see this all the time in TV shows. It's just like the language used. Like, you're calling her a little psycho.
Yeah, that's really
No.
uncalled for, extremely unprofessional. And the fact that this whole event escalated so far as to make Epyck go to another school.
And a new
That's
foster
ridiculous.
home. A new foster home.
Why would you take her away from her foster parents?
What does this have to do?
Absolutely no sense.
I know. Mm-hmm.
They went way too far with this. It seems very unrealistic. If I'm assuming she's on the island of Betty.
She is on the island. In the bigger, and we'll get to it, the grand story scheme, if you will, over arc of Tammy. This, I guess, fits in. It's just like, what was the point of Epyck? Was it just to show that Tammy cares about her students? But we know that.
Right. Like, we know she's good at her job.
With Tyra, we saw the success of it. You know what I'm saying? And with Epyck, I guess we saw a little glimmer, and then this happened. It just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agree. I feel like it was unnecessary to ship her off. Like, if we needed to just, like, not use the character anymore, we could have just suspended her, even though it's wrong. Or, like, you know, something of the sort. We didn't need to have, like, a nice bow closing chapter on Epyck. For me, at least, she's a character we introduced in the season briefly. We spent a little bit of time with her. I didn't need this, like, happy or sad ending for her. We could have just kind of, like, forgot about her. Sorry, Epyck. And Tammy could have went on living her life, but the whole thing was really crazy.
We could have had that Tammy met with Epyck at the restaurant and, like, continued just to help her, and then just, like, slowly fade her out. I don't think Epyck needs to get better arrested. In math. That's it. I don't.
Agreed.
I don't know. Lisa says, I feel like Tammy and the other teacher may end up with a rift because of Epyck. If she hadn't been pulling Epyck's bag out of her hands, Tammy never would have gotten in the middle. I feel sad for Tammy. She was actually making progress.
Yeah. And Tammy thought that this woman was, like, her friend, quote. And now I guess she realizes, like, she's just, like, my work friend. A colleague.
Like, now I'm thinking, a colleague. Is she history or is she math? Because now I'm thinking back, it doesn't matter. Epyck had issues with all this.
I surely don't know.
With all the teachers, it seems. Vic wants to know, would they really arrest someone for accidentally hitting a teacher?
No. And if Tammy says, hey, look, I'm not pressing charges, they wouldn't press charges. Yeah. Tammy was the one that was assaulted by accident. Right. She was, her body was flown into the glass and she could have had a concussion. If she's not pressing charges, she's not pressing charges. So I think this whole thing is bullshit.
I do too.
Bullshit.
It's crazy. Julie, as we know, she's in Chicago with Matt. They have a great weekend together. She wants to stay longer. And so they have this, like, good walk and talk on the street. And she explains to Matt how much she's missed him and how much she's, like, loving her time here, and that Matt's moved on, but she feels like she doesn't fit into Matt's life anymore. And he ends up kissing her, which I love, because I'm like, wow, you guys spent the whole weekend together and you haven't kissed yet. Because he's like, I've been dying to do this.
I know. How sweet.
So sweet. Then they sleep together. I'm down with it.
Sure.
And then she ends up telling him about what happened. And you could tell she's, like, kind of worried to tell him, and he's listening.
She's ashamed of it.
She's ashamed, but he's like, Julie, it's okay. We're not together. I'm not your parents. So you don't have anything to worry about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not in a relationship. Let's just go get breakfast.
Yeah, he handled it very maturely, as Matt usually would. And he's like, whatever. Like, it's not like you cheated on me. I'm not going to judge you. I love you. Whatever.
It's okay. And it's okay.
But it's just so sad to see how ashamed she is of it, of the whole situation. She's like, and he was married, and, like, it's a whole big thing. And he's like, okay, I'm like, basically, like, I'm sorry you went through that, but I don't think any differently of you. And I thought the whole situation, everything, the way he handled it was really sweet. Very Matt.
It was really sweet. Even how he handled asking her, like, what are you doing? You know, like, you've spent some time here. Don't you got to go home? Are your parents wondering where you are?
Yep.
You know, he dropped the line, which I guess is like my trigger for season 5, is like, you belong in Burleson.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, she just belongs in college, or she just has to figure out her life. And he's like, I don't want to be your safety net. I get that.
Totally. I love that he said that. It needed to be said. He was very real about it. She needed to hear it.
Yeah.
She just needs to find her purpose in life. It's really hard to do. And it's not going to happen overnight. And she just, she wanted that safety blanket, as we all do when we're feeling so insecure and you just don't know what the future holds for you. And you just keep that little security because it's always going to be there. And he's like, yeah, I'll be there. You just need to figure out your shit.
Right.
Like, we're good. Like, the way they left it was so sweet.
Wasn't it so good? She goes to leave. She's driving off, and then he goes running after her car. And he's like, Julie, it's okay. They kiss. We'll figure it out.
We have so very little, like, huge grand gestures of love in this show. And that was, like, a very, rom-com, but in the best way kind of kiss. And I was like, yes, Matt Saracen, you're back. You are back, mister. Missed you so much. Oh, I loved it.
We're no longer mad at him, right? We're
not
mad at Maddie anymore.
Over it. Mad about what?
Right? Not here.
No, I was mad, but we understood. And I'm sure Julie has to have understood now. We've spoken our piece time and time again about the way he handled it. It wasn't the right move, but we understand why he did it. And now he's made his peace with it, and Julie is over it for the most part.
Yeah. Lisa says, Julie hiding out in Chicago is cute, but I'm glad Matt called her on it. Love that have you seen the bean conversation? As a Chicagoan, I feel the need to correct them. It is called the Cloud Gate. I also like that they found a random alley to be Chicago. If Matt lives anywhere near the AIC, it looks nothing like that. Thanks, Lisa.
Sure. I mean, when I was in Chicago, I was quite literally in like the heart of Chicago.
So was I. And
so it did look like that.
And I went to the bean. I love the bean, and you take your picture by the bean, and it's great. Rihanna, what's going to happen with Matt and Julie? And then Vic, to piggyback off of that, Vic wants to know, do you think if none of the stuff with Derek happened, would Julie have gone to see Matt eventually?
Yeah, I do. I think something else, uber traumatic in her life, or dramatic, I should say. Not traumatic, dramatic, because things with Julie can be a little dramatic.
Sure.
Would happen, or, she flunked out of Spanish class, let's just say. And she's like, oh, God, I don't know what I'm doing with myself. Like anything, she could have had that moment, unfortunately, with anything that happened at college, because I don't think she should be there. At least not there. At Burleson. So, yes, I do think she would eventually made her way back to Matt. Maybe not so soon, but Christmas break, maybe. Oh, hey, Matt's home, or I'm going to go visit Matt, and it would have been the same thing.
Yeah. Where do you think they're going? You think these two are endgame? Like you?
I do.
Mules is endgame?
I do. I'm wholeheartedly believing that now. I know I wasn't confident in the past, obviously, but I'm confident now, and I'm glad that while I don't like mostly any of Julie's storylines for the entirety of the show because it surrounded a guy, blah, 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 I've said this before, I do like the Mules storyline of young love, first heartbreak, kind of flounder, find your people, not so much your people, and then you come back together. When you're older, like, I'm glad, Matt he'll be probably 20-ish soon, and she's 19. Like, while it doesn't seem like it's old and, like, definitely not ready for marriage, it's on the right step, because it's like, when they're done with colleges or whatever, I'm sure, when you have a very young romance like that, like my sister and her husband, you don't really wait that long to get married. Like, you're like 25, 26, like right out of college, you get married. And I see that that's what's hopefully going to happen for them, if that's what they want. They'd be cute.
Well said.
Little mules.
Well said. Little mules. Yeah. Will has some trivia for us.
Oh.
Where's my window? There it is. The Wildcat quarterback usually takes a shotgun snap where the ball is passed in the air from the center as opposed to going under the center's butt and receiving it directly. But in this episode, Luke is a Wildcat quarterback who mostly takes snaps under center as opposed to shotgun. The writers are just using the term Wildcat without accurately portraying what it looks like until the very last plays of the game when he finally starts running the Wildcat counter package.
I didn't even hear anything about a Wildcat in the entire episode. I didn't hear anything about Wildcat. So thank you, Will.
Really?
Because I must have just been either writing my notes or like paying attention to how poorly Luke was just like holding onto the ball and he wouldn't pass it to anyone else. And I was like, Luke, please pass the damn ball. You're giving me anxiety. He would just be like holding it and like just holding it.
Thank you, Will. A favorite quote in the episode. Liz, what do you have?
This is hard. I have, look, we all know the problem. It's Vince. He lost his team. But then I obviously loved, I can't stand being around your ass anymore. Jess.
I love it. I love it.
Perfection.
I went on the comedic route. We got Reglet number 2 coming to a theater.
I almost leaned there, but
I got to give it to Billy. I love Billy and Mindy so much. I have to say, and I feel like I've been saying this every week, but now that we're really nearing the end, I'm feeling very emotional. I know I can go back to this show and watch it anytime, but I feel like this show it's just different than our other shows. I think this is the least we've ever shit-talked a show.
Absolutely.
And we love these people so much. And I was telling Liz this, guys, that I've gone ahead and I've watched, I have the finale to watch, which I'm going to watch probably tonight. And just to like mentally prepare, and I have cried every single episode where I'm like, oh my gosh. And the Billy and Mindy stuff. So when I was watching this a couple of weeks ago to prepare, I was like, oh my God, how could I forget they were pregnant again? Like, how could I forget them? It makes me appreciate them so much more.
I'm sure your first time around, you, like Will said, like you kind of don't really remember Billy or Mindy because, they're not, I guess, the main players.
Right.
But now watching it as an adult and, we're more their age than we are the kids' ages, you focus on them more. And so they really have become a very vital part of the show. I love their whole Becky storyline and the children and, just how much they love family. And it's really, really sweet. And
I think also when we got to like meet Derek and Stacy and talk to them a little bit,
the best.
The best.
So
I mean, they
genuine,
all were, right? Scott and
absolutely
guys too. They're all great. I'm just like, God, this show
I
is
miss
so
Smash.
good.
Thank you for reminding me of Smash.
You're
I
welcome.
miss you. I miss you, Street. I miss you, Smash.
We miss them all. Anyway, back to our regular scheduled programming. Coach Corner, what do you got?
I had Coach with Vince. I don't know if that's like my ultimate favorite moment, but just the way he's like, you're not going to talk back to me. How do you like it? Like, he's not backing down, which is very like Coach, obviously not to. He's like, even if we lose, I don't care. I'm not putting you in the game because it's principle. And he wants to teach him a lesson, unfortunately, for the team. But they made it out okay.
Make them sweat a little bit, right?
Yeah. But he had faith in Luke that Luke could achieve it.
Yeah.
So I liked all the moments with Coach this episode.
To piggyback off of that, like how great for Coach to do that for Luke on Luke's senior night in the last home game. And for your parents to be there to watch, that's pretty great, Luke. That's pretty great.
Yeah, he had a good night.
My favorite coaching moment was Jess showing up to
for Luke.
Help Luke out. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah. MVP and shittiest. Who's your MVP?
I want to go with Jess, even though I loved so many people in this episode. Jess just obviously took the cake for me with her standing up to Vince and her helping Luke. She just had a really good episode, but I loved I really enjoyed this episode.
Good.
I felt like it was really sweet. I really enjoyed Matt too. I thought Matt was a great choice.
Yeah. I think from here on out, you're going to love and appreciate every episode. I
know.
Because this is it, guys. This is it. And I think what's to come, I think you're going to be really excited. I'm sorry, I keep getting off track here, but
no, but you're making me sad.
But hopefully excited too, right? It's going to be, I think the next couple of weeks are just going to be really special. But
yeah,
that being said, I chose Jess as well for my MVP. We had votes for Luke and Matt.
Yeah.
Shittiest. We have 2 on the block here. Who'd you pick?
Is it Vince and Ornette as the shittiest?
Yep.
Yeah. I was toying between the 2, so I figured I might as well just give it to both of them.
The Howard men. Get it?
Yeah. Ornette is scary. I'm afraid he's going to do something bad.
Yeah.
And Vince is like, Dad, please, not now. Just not today. Any other time. Just not now. So at least he's seeing no, my dad's really going to pop off. Maybe I should pay attention to what's happening here.
And I think also he respects his mother so much. And so Regina having that talk with him in the best tone and way possible. Like, hey, trust your gut. Don't always trust your dad.
That was such a wonderful mothering. I should have given her the coach's corner because the way she spoke to her son so calmly and in such a way that it was just listen to me. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but just listen to my opinion. You can take it or leave it. I love that the way she parented him there. Because I feel like, when I listen to my mom and she gives me advice or she's judgy or whatever, I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. But if Regina came and said the way she said it to me, I'd be like, okay, Mom, thanks. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, she delivered it in a really, really good way. And it was at work, so she didn't stop. She was busy doing her job. It just came out. And she didn't diss her husband either, his father.
Right. She says, you know what, he actually, he wants to do so right by you that it gets his head all clouded. Yeah. Just remember that.
So good. So good. All right, let's go into our booster of the week. Liz, who's our Lion booster?
Our Lion booster is Kate.
Kate!
Yeah,
Yay!
Kate was in the Discord chat tonight. She always actually participates on the Discord, which is really great. We love hearing from her. I love just all of her stories, and we just really appreciate her. So thank you so much, Kate, for being a part of the Total Buddy fam.
Thank you, Kate. We love you, and we hope you have a wonderful birthday. Your birthday is will have passed by the time you hear this.
But happy belated now.
Happy belated, Kate. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you so much.
And happy birthday to Mike.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Mike and Rihanna. And
Rihanna. We have so many August birthdays.
I know. And Brittany.
Yeah, my goodness. Sorry if I missed anyone.
Yeah. Okay. An emoji for this episode. I have 2.
Yes.
You can make the final decision.
Okay.
I chose a mermaid for the Princess Starfish. Gracie Belle was holding a mermaid doll.
How cute was Gracie Belle?
Gracie Belle's so cute. Especially when she said to Tammy, she's like, she's not your friend.
I know. It's like,
you're spicy,
was that
Gracie Belle.
Just the way she said it, and I obviously we know that Courtney Britton is such a phenomenal actress, but just the way she reacted to Gracie Belle, I was like, wait, did Gracie Belle actually mean to say that or no? Because she was just laughing at her.
So cute. So that emoji or the bagel, because Matt's like, we should just go get bagels, Julie.
Bagel and a schmear.
Bagel and schmear. Should we go with which one should we pick, Liz?
Let's do a bagel. Why not?
Okay. So what you could do with that bagel, you know it's coming. You could stick it in an Apple Podcast review. If you're listening over there, that's a prompt for you. Rate us 5 stars, please. You could also rate us on Spotify, send us the emoji and an Instagram DM, through the Discord, through the email. We just want to know that you got this far and that you're listening. And we do have a Lion of the Week.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. If you leave us an Apple Podcast review, you become the Lion of the Week. So happy to report that we actually have one
and
this
I will
week.
read your review.
Yes.
So here we
Don't
go.
you want that?
This is lettuce with a buff arm muscle emoji.
Great, using
in the
the
title.
emojis.
We love it. This is molliest.d. Nutrition is to physical health as Total Betty podcasts are to emotional health. We laugh, we cry, but mainly we laugh. Real people on a well-produced podcast that will easily make you feel part of the TB family.
So sweet. Thank
love
you.
It. Thanks, Molly.
Thank you, Molly. Means so much. And
assuming
thank you for
it's
using
you, Molliest.
Molliest? I know, I'm assuming it's Molly too, our listener, and Betty Molly.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Liz, I'm going to give you the title for next week. Season 5,
ready.
episode 10. We're in the double digits. The title is Don't Go.
Oh, God.
And the quote I have for you, welcome home, Becky. Listen, please, right now.
Timmy.
Maybe
Tim
it could be her
Overgo.
mom. How do
No,
you know
fuck
it's
that bitch? We don't want.
Oh, okay.
You would not give me that quote if it was her mom. Let's be real.
I could.
Oh my God, I'm so
off.
excited. You don't have to confirm it. I'll just go with what I think it is. Tim is coming home on good behavior. This is so exciting. And Billy's gonna be like, Mindy's pregnant. This is what's happening. Like everyone's gonna be like high energy, but Tim's like not gonna know how he's gonna get reacclimated in life because he's been locked up for a year ish. And he was living a different life for these months. So this should be interesting. He's going to have to figure out what he's going to do for work. It's going to be a whole Tim episode. I feel it. I see it. Tim's going to be like, I'm ready to come back, do my thing, get a new job, pay for my land, figure out how I'm going to like build whatever home is going to be going on there. And we still have Riggins Riggs. Is that still a thing? I know Billy is working for Coach. So I guess Riggins Rig is like not a thing. Okay. Well, maybe Tim will decide to take that on again or something.
Okay.
And everyone will be happy to see him.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
That's that. I just want to, we spoke about it a little bit, but with football of it all, we have playoffs.
Yeah.
We have state. Do you think Vince is back? Like you said, one episode, then the team will be back as the team we love and know.
Well, I think the team will be okay. It's Vince kind of having to make amends with the team and Coach. I think by the end of next episode, I don't think in the beginning, but by the end of next episode, I think Vince and Coach will have an understanding, and Vince will be like, yo, I know my dad's crazy, and I'm just going to listen to you from now on. I don't care what he says, because I want to go to college. I want to get a scholarship for football. I want to, be scouted. I know you can get me there, and they'll have a heart-to-heart. I don't think, it doesn't seem like, I don't know, like, will he, in the beginning of the episode, be really stubborn still, or will he kind of just still try and like lay low and then finally apologize to Coach? I still see like the end of the episode, Coach and Vince will like have a handshake and he'll be like, let's go to state or something.
Yeah. Great predictions.
Thank you.
Very good, Liz. I know. She's smiling.
I know my stuff.
She knows the stuff. Last but not least, we do have Will's Football Poetry Corner. Wildcat offense.
Naturally.
Wildcat offense revolves around the running back taking the snap directly and either running it, handing it off, or in the rare case, throwing it. after Vince's behavior spirals, Coach gets a wild hair up his ass and decides to put Luke in as a wildcat quarterback. Luke is feeling himself when he wins the game and strikes up the courage to invite Becky to dinner. Ornette has the claws out for Coach after Vince is benching. Meanwhile, Julie has to lick her wounds after Matt challenges her to figure out what she is doing with her life.
Oh my God, love. That was
so
like my favorite.
Good. Yes.
That was like a really good one. Not that they're
good.
all not good, but this was a really good one.
Yeah, this was really, really good, Will. Thank you so much. Well, that's it for this week.
Except for 9.
Wow. That's it for 9. That was bad. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, downloading, subscribing, all the things. If you're new and you haven't spoken up yet, like now's the time. Say hello. This podcast is coming to an end. Please, please, please send us an email, a message. Just say hi. We're not scary. We just want to hear from you. No. Come back next week for episode 10. Don't go.
Don't go, though. Who's leaving?